Thank you, Doc. My name is Nan Cohen. I'm the chair of the English department at Viewpoint School. I did theater in high school, and I always played the old ladies. No disrespect to old ladies. I hope to be an old lady. I love many old ladies. But you know, you're 15, you're 16, maybe you don't always want to play the old ladies. But then, my senior year, the fall play was going to be Agatha Christie's Murder at the Vicarage, starring an old lady. Sweet! But I did not get the part. The part went to a junior. Her name was Cerise, pronounced like the color, but spelled like the Roman goddess of the harvest, Ceres. There's a picture of Ceres with her cornucopia, her horn of plenty. And to me, Cerise, whose last name was Horn, Cerise Horn, her whole life, to me, seemed like the horn of plenty. I knew her name well because we had been on an academic quiz show together. She was a sophomore. I was a junior when that happened. She won a lot of awards. She was the top of her class. The teachers loved her. Students loved her. She was an athlete. She played softball. She had lots of friends, all kinds of friends, because she was just so darn nice. And she always had a bright, shiny face and this expression. And she was always bubbling over with energy and enthusiasm. We all know people like this. She was just one of those annoying stars. And she decided to audition for the play, and she got cast as Miss Marple. And I got cast as another old lady. A very minor old lady. So I went to the first rehearsal feeling a little bit bruised, a little embarrassed, maybe even just a tiny bit resentful. And we had metal folding chairs just like this. And instead of a theater, we had a gym. So as we dragged our metal folding chairs into a circle for the first read-through, Cerise dragged her chair up next to mine, and she turned to me, her face absolutely incandescent with delight, and she said to me, "I'm so glad I get to do this play with you." And I thought, okay, I'm glad too. But she transformed the whole experience for me in the way that she chose to look at it. And if I were telling you this story in 1985, this story would be, if you let go of what you wanted to happen, something even better might happen. I had just as much fun playing the old lady, and I had a friend. But that's not the whole story. The story changes. A year after I graduated and went to Yale, Cerise graduated and went to Princeton. She was 16 years old, a 16-year-old freshman, and her ambition was to be an astronaut. And as our headmaster said, for her, being an astronaut seemed like a perfectly reasonable career choice. And then, in January of 1987, Cerise was going back to school from winter break, her freshman year of college, and the train she was on collided with a freight train. The engineer and the brakeman of the freight train had been smoking marijuana, and they ignored a warning signal. It was the worst accident in Amtrak history up until that point, 1987. 175 people were injured, 16 people were killed, and one of them was Cerise. So, that accident, of course, changed a lot of lives very suddenly. Cerise's parents, Roger and Susan, her sister Corey, her brother Howard, her friends, her teachers, the whole school community. You can imagine. If it were just a few years later and I were telling you this story, I would say, I'm so glad Cerise got to play Miss Marple. I'm so glad I didn't mar anything about that experience for her by being even a little tiny bit cold or hurt. And there are more parts of the story. Cerise's father and the father of Christy Johnson, who was another of the crash victims, helped to get a major federal transportation safety law passed so that everybody can travel more safely on federal transportation. We established an award at our school, which we called the Cornucopia Award, which honors Cerise by recognizing students who give generously of their natural gifts to other people. And in 1997, they opened a theater at our school, the Cerise M. Horn Theater. No more plays in the gym. It's almost as nice as the Carlson Family Theater. And of course, it means a great deal to me. But for me, there's still a little bit more to the story. This is a picture of Cerise holding a kestrel. It's a little falcon. We had an ornithology club, and the ornithology club was banding birds. And I love that look on her face as she looks at the bird. She's so in the moment. I always go right into that moment when I see that picture. And this is what I think now. I think Cerise was a person of tremendous promise, and I know that that's one of the reasons we all valued her. She has a brilliant future. We're going to know an astronaut. You know, whatever she does, it's going to be amazing. And we all believe that, and I do believe it to be absolutely true. But look what happened. She didn't get to finish 1 year of college. She didn't marry and have children. She didn't become an astronaut. When she died, she was younger than a lot of you are right now. It is almost 30 years since I met her. It's 27 years last month since she died, but those 27 years have not at all diminished my sense of the importance of her life. 27 years, on the contrary, have kind of magnified it. She means more to me as the time goes by. So, as much as we all wish she had gotten to live a longer life, I have to think that what she was enough to matter. She still matters a lot to me and a lot of other people. And you know what that means? It means that each one of us matters enough already, no matter how much or how little we have accomplished up to this point. Whatever we do in the future, it may be wonderful, but it doesn't necessarily matter. You're here right now. You matter right now. Your life is already rippling out in ways that you mostly don't and can't know about. The best you can do, and I think this was part of the genius of Cerise, is to live as if you know that every little thing you do counts, that something you already did today could be something that somebody else will remember for the rest of their lives. When Cerise dragged her metal chair up to mine in the gym, I did not know that was one of the important moments of my life. And now I do. Thank you.